Cosmic Ghost Rider number 4. I love this comic book, but not for the reasons that I thought I would. Cosmic Ghost Rider 4, let's check it out. So when we finished up Cosmic Ghost Rider 3, Frank Castle had just decimated the entire Marvel Galaxy. Everybody came at him, and everybody failed. And of course, Cable was the instigator of this. He's the one who came back with the new Guardians of the Galaxy and basically led this charge against Thanos. And he warned him, Cable that is, Cable warned Frank Castle that the new Thanos from this timeline is so much worse. And then right at the end, who shows up? Thanos does. And that's where Cosmic Ghost Rider 4 kicks off. So seeing Thanos all grown up, sporting the Punisher shirt, it's kind of a shock to Frank. And right off the bat, Baby Thanos is asking, who's this ugly man? And he's like, hey, that's you. It's the you that I raised in the future. And he's like, oh. And Frank just apologizes. He's like, yeah, sorry. You don't turn out to be the best looking feller. And then Baby Thanos hops down and goes and asks him, are you a cosmic serial killer? And Thanos actually smiles and said, no, little one, that's not me anymore. And he asks him what he is. He thumps himself on the chest and says, I am the Punisher. And you find out how important it is to him as we move through this, through the comic book. But Frank can't believe it. He's trying to figure out what has he done, what kind of cursed Earth has he created by raising Thanos this way. And they step through the portal at Thanos' coaxing, and he walks into a paradise, and it shocks Frank Castle. He just he's seriously he can't believe it, and it's so beautiful, and it is beautiful Earth, and he's just looking around, and Thanos just says this is our home, and you can see it on Frank's face, I knew it. I knew there was hope, and I knew there was hope in you. And he looks back at Thanos, and Thanos has a look on his face like there's something I have to show you. And he goes and he shows him Frank's his headstone, and basically explains that, hey, we scoured everywhere, heaven and earth, looking for a cure for your curse, and we finally did, and Frank stops him. He says, "Stop! I don't want to know how I die." And he just asks him, "Hey, did I live a good life, and did it matter?" And Thanos stops, and he starts explaining to him how everything he knows, it was because of Frank Castle, and he keeps calling him father, and it's honestly, he starts with it is my greatest honor to have, and then Frank cuts him off and says, "What's that? Is that smoke?" And they go walk up to a ledge, and you get this cityscape just in ruin with the Liberty and Penance and Thanos' giant bust there, his statue with the Cosmic Ghost Rider statue in the background, and just this decimated city. And Frank just gasps and says, "What have you done?" And to me, this is where it gets pretty interesting, because both the Punisher, Frank Castle, and Thanos, the Punisher, are on a back and forth, basically about, it's a very deep moral question. And Thanos is of the mind that these individuals, they were offered the opportunity, but they wanted crime, murder, injustice, and hate. They wanted, through the freedoms that they wanted these other things, and it couldn't be allowed to spread. The crime, the murder, all that stuff that couldn't be allowed to spread, and that's where Cable and his rebellion spawned from. So he basically patrols this thing, and he has camps set up. And Frank thinks this is appalling. He thinks it's insane. He's stomping away, and Thanos is basically saying, "Look, they're animals. They can't be allowed to hurt anyone." And Frank is adamant that this is not what I wanted. You're torturing them. And Thanos shouts at him, "I'm punishing them." And this is where Frank Castle paints himself in a corner a little bit, because he explains that this is wrong. You're leaving those people die out there. And Baby Thanos pipes in and says, hey, why is that wrong? And why is there a difference between, killing people and letting them die? And then because the way Baby Thanos remembers it a couple issues back, he let Galactus eat a whole planet full of people and he basically just let them die. And Frank can't answer it. He sits there with his hands, and he just freaks out. He's like, how am I surrounded again by both of you? Two Thanoses again. And Thanos is still trying to be rational. He's like, look, this is our destiny. They were the chosen instruments to do this. And Frank he squashes that right away. He's like, look, there's no such thing as destiny. We choose what we've become. It is something we can change. And Thanos challenges it, saying, hey, what would you have me do? You raised me not to kill, but I'm trying to protect, in that I don't want, they can't intermingle with good. They can never be redeemed. And Frank shoots back with you can't. They deserve a chance to be forgiven. You can't just give people death sentence because they don't fall in line. And Thanos gets a little short with him and says, hey, that sounds a little hollow coming from you, Father. And, Ghost Rider freaks out and says, that's not who I am. But Thanos points out and says, you don't understand what we are protecting. And he points over to a cabin. And in that cabin, Frank watches his wife on the porch. And he watches him, Frank Castle, step out onto the porch. And you can see the tears in his eyes. And he asks, is that me? Is that my wife? Am I wife? And how is that? And Thanos explains that when he settled back here on Earth, he raised him, and Thanos was able to stop him when the men came to kill his family. And Frank looks back, and he can't believe it. He cannot believe it's real. And you can see the hurt, the pain, the suffering in his eyes. And at first you don't really get why he's so upset, but then it clicks, and it explains it. Honestly, if she's still here, if she's alive, how did Frank Castle become the Punisher? Because that is what pushed him over the edge. How is it, though, that if he wasn't pushed over the edge, how does he still end up doing this? How does he still end up working for Thanos? And how does that happen? And Thanos just puts out that people don't change because this is who you are. And Frank doesn't want to accept it. He scoops up Baby Thanos and blames it on him. Says, you made me do this. It's you. You have caused this. And every dimension, every time, it's you. You've put this. And Thanos tells him, put it down. And Frank freaks out. He says, I'm not your father. I'll end this now. And he goes to shoot the Baby Thanos, and he gets eye laser whipped and just smacked around by Thanos. And Thanos telling him, we could have ruled this world together. And he tells him, though, there's still a place for you here. As my herald, just standing over him. Frank Castle, Cosmic Ghost Rider, looking powerless before him. And it's a great picture. It's like, is he reaching down to help him up? Is he standing over him menacingly? What is going on here? And we're going to have to wait until Cosmic Ghost Rider number 5 to find out. Now, I will say that there was one, and I this is nitpicky. I mean, I really did like this this book. I like the moral quandary of you're going to allow people to die, but you're going to be a Galactus, but it's not okay in this situation. And it's Frank Castle being faced with is the Punisher persona. Is it right? Is there this idea of no forgiveness? Does everybody deserve to be forgiven? And it's a very important question that that we believe that is does everyone deserve a chance? And I say absolutely. But the one thing that really got me is if I think if I was in this situation, I don't say my wife. I think I'd actually say my wife's name. He said, is that me and my wife? I don't think that's the words that would come out of my mouth. But I don't know. Obviously, I've not been given the power cosmic, been had a deal with Mephisto and got the Spirit of Vengeance. But if it happens and all this plays out, I'll let you know. But this is an awesome comic book. I can't wait for number 5. I'm sad that number 5 is going to be the last one in the series, but I'm also excited because we know that Cosmic Ghost Rider is going to be one of the new Guardians of the Galaxy beginning in January. So we have that to look forward to. And I plan on doing a video about the Cosmic Ghost Rider, the Guardians of the Galaxy and who they are here in the near future. I'm also about to try to make a push to grow my subscribers. So what I'll be doing is I'll be doing some shorter videos that include the subscriber count. So help me get that up. Share the videos. Encourage folks to subscribe. Leave a like. Leave comments. Because all that stuff helps when it comes to working analytics in the YouTube algorithm. So I appreciate your support. And Real Comic Stacks, out!